Some powers are weird, but all are useful in their own ways. So let's look at those that do both. Wow. Being an intergalactic god, traveling from realm to realm, planet to planet, galaxy to galaxy, it's pretty crucial that you be able to communicate with the many different life forms you come into contact with. For Thor, other Asgardians, as well as other deities, they do this by way of the All-Speak. Probably through some form of magic, all form of speech is heard in whatever native tongue the listener is accustomed to. Obviously, this is incredibly useful, especially for those who travel far and wide. As such, other superheroes have had various forms of this kind of omni-speech. The mutant Cypher has the ability to communicate in almost all forms of communication, even being able to speak to the living island Krakoa, speaking in binary code to a robot, which makes no sense, reading body language or architecture, or even spellcasting. The Man-Thing in Marvel Comics spoke in Excelsior, which was apparently a universal language. Communication is the basis of society, so naturally, this is making the list. Have you ever wished that you could turn into a puddle? Probably not, but you might want to reconsider that, especially if you're a puddle that can move on its own accord and take various shapes. There are many characters who can achieve a liquid or liquid-like form, and they have used it to great effect. There are characters like Clayface from DC and Sandman from Marvel that, while they are technically turning into mud or sand, they can do some insane things like shapeshift, travel via the air, turn their limbs into hammers, melt away. A lot of the stretching heroes like Plastic Man or Mr. Fantastic can do this to a degree as well. Most shapeshifting characters can make themselves almost liquid, and it allows them to achieve quite a bit more than you'd think. Some other examples would be like the mutant Mercury, Brainiac from DC Comics, or even the T-1000 from Terminator. Next up is dimensional storage. While this kind of power is more often just used as a trope in television and comic books where characters pull objects from seemingly out of nowhere, it has also been used as an actual legit power, and it's all a result of spatial manipulation and or dimensional travel. We have seen this ability used by all sorts of characters, from the wizards of Harry Potter with their tents, buildings, or bags, to characters like Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim who pull a massive hammer out of a tiny little purse. In DC Comics, Green Lanterns store their lantern batteries in a pocket dimension from which they recall it when they need to recharge their rings, and for Marvel, the mutant Abyss houses a portal to an unknown dimension that he can freely pull objects in and out of. Deadpool has been known to use this trick from time to time, although it's hardly ever explained. Then of course most characters with cartoon physics do this too. These pocketed dimensions are not limited to any physical location and can be applied almost anywhere, whether it's a portable bag, a pants pocket, a closet, or with a character like the X-Men's Dupe, it's literally inside of him. A hero with this ability can basically store anything, even people, so long as whatever it is fits through the entry point. Reactive adaptation is basically the ability to just adapt to whatever problem you encounter. An Omega level version of this power is possessed by the Marvel mutant Darwin. The mutant Lifeguard has a similar kind of ability, but more focused around healing. Her ability is called Danger Detection Response, and basically what it means is that she can detect danger to her or others' lives in her vicinity, and she can literally evolve whatever powers are necessary for her to stop those lives from being lost. She can gain more than one power at a time and is able to control said power after just a few seconds. It also seems to be kind of limitless in what she or Darwin can do. Ernest Widdle, aka Gold Star, certainly has an odd power. The hero possesses the ability to encourage people to be nice via the niceness vibes that he emits. Now while this might sound useless on paper, just think about it. With his niceness vibes, Goldstar could quell riots or halt robberies and generally just sway people to the side of good en masse, all without throwing a single punch. Functioning essentially as a low-level empath, Goldstar could nice his way through any problem, making him kind of the ultimate pacifist hero. Debuting in Amazing Spider-Man Swing Shift in 2007, Overdrive proved to be a new kind of villain for Spidey, with the power to convert any vehicle into a souped-up, modded-out escape vehicle with just a touch. Overdrive made a career out of playing getaway driver. Overdrive never saw reason to explore the limits of his powers, preferring instead to work on a quick payday and just get away. But with a better understanding of vehicle mechanics and a little imagination, Overdrive could theoretically morph any jalopy into whatever he desired. He could do like a rocket bike, a jet, a monster truck, even brand new vehicles that we haven't even come up with yet. As a member of the Hellions, Tag, aka Brian Cruz, lent his unusual skill to Emma Frost's personal squad. Cruz was born with the mutant ability to tag, wherein Cruz would make physical contact with a person or an object, imbuing whatever is touched with a psionic signature. When Cruz tags something, he can either cause people to run away from the tagged object or person, or he could cause people to swarm it. Despite the odd nature of the power, tagging allows the mutant to function both defensively by tagging civilians or a teammate to cause villains to avoid them, and offensively tagging someone to make people swarm that individual, making Tag a real double threat. If Tag had been given time to fine-tune his power, he could use his tagging to like control entire cities or maybe even planets. We don't know. First appearing in Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man number 98 in 1985, as a scientist working for the Kingpin, Dr. Jonathan Owen was assigned to reproduce the radiation levels of the Vigilante cloak to find a way to artificially mimic his powers. So working late one night, he succeeded, creating a solid black circular portal. The power used to create said portal caused a blackout, destabilizing it and prompting Owen to just step into it and pass out. He awoke floating weightlessly in a dimension that was a place of half darkness and half light that contained a large number of portals, and using the original one, he slipped back through to the lab. Now, the portals from the other dimension had adhered to his skin, covering him with black spots from head to toe that were portable space warps. Throwing a punch at Spot, he'll just move a spot in your way and have you punch yourself in the face. Taking a shot at Spot, prepare for those bullets to come zipping right back at you. Spot is essentially a walking bundle of teleportation, making it next to impossible to actually hurt the guy. This is how he beat up Spider-Man in his first appearance. You compound this with constant moving around via short-range teleportation, and you've got a villain that can really mess you up. Bernard Buddy Baker, aka Animal Man in DC Comics, gained access to the Morphogenic field, otherwise known as the Red. This field basically allows Buddy to absorb and use different attributes of nearby animals while still being a human. So he has been able to move his eyes independently like a chameleon, he's been able to ram against a speeding car with the abilities of a rhino, and he can fly by tapping into birds, among many other boons. But Animal Man definitely isn't the only one to be able to tap into the abilities of animals. A lot of Teen Titans fans are well aware of Beast Boy, who has a much more direct version of this power, being able to just turn into different animals. And there's also Vixen, who is much the same as Animal Man, being able to tap into whatever animal she needs to borrow the abilities of. This power, like most, gives more questions than anything else, but if you don't worry about the how, and just worry about what you can do with it, it's pretty cool. Next up is photographic reflexes. This superpower is usually attributed to one character, at least in Marvel Comics. That character would be Tony Masters, otherwise known as Taskmaster. Taskmaster's photogenic reflexes ability allows this guy to watch another person's physical movements and duplicate them without any practice or training, no matter how complex those movements are. Tony is able to duplicate almost any physical activity after seeing it done by someone else only once, even using this ability to master complex gymnastics routines and play different pieces of music. But it goes beyond mere mimicry. He has often shown the ability to actually predict an opponent's next move before they even make it, if he has studied their fighting style enough. Opponents who are skilled at improvisational fighting styles or who have a more random, unpredictable style are less likely to have their movements predicted by Taskmaster, of course. But another benefit that comes with his photographic reflexes is that Tony can push his body past its natural limits, meaning his agility and speed can increase itself to match that of other superhuman speed and agility. It also makes him an excellent teacher, so pop that on a resume. But that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Top 10 Nerd. I'll catch you nerds on the flippy flop, and until then, stay safe and peace out. Swip, swip.